So let's see who's joined. Oh, hello, Padaris. Thank you for joining. Pafitpam as well, of course, and Pariki. Thank you for coming today.
Hey, good afternoon, everyone.
We will start very shortly. All right. Thank you, everyone, for joining us today. Now that more people have arrived, I think it is a good time to start our session. So again, good afternoon. My name is Yumna, and I will be moderating today's webinar. Before we start, I would again like to thank you all for taking your time to attend our webinar this afternoon, and I hope it is filled with a lot of insightful information. So as some of you may know, today's webinar is part of our series, Indonesia 5.0, Navigating Through Business Expansion. And today we are going to discuss the Indonesian tech industry and its trends, markets, and industry practices. Before we move on to presentations from our speakers, let's have a look at our agenda this afternoon. So first and foremost, we will have opening remarks from our COO of Incorp Indonesia, Pak Daris. And later we will have our first presentation from Pak Riki Haryadi, Strategic Partnership, Corporate Business Development and Venture at Microsoft Indonesia. And the second presentation will be brought by Ibu Marisa Musin, who is the Indonesian representative at ClickNext. And last but certainly not least, we will have a presentation brought by Incorp Indonesia's CEO, Pak Irfan Rahmantio. Following our speakers, we are going to have a Q&A session, which would be the last agenda for today's webinar. So please make sure to ask questions during our Q&A session for a chance to win some exciting prizes. So now that we are familiar with today's agenda, I'd like to introduce you all to Daris Salam, COO of Incorp Indonesia, who will be delivering the opening remarks. Pak Daris has more than 10 years of experience in accounting and finance, and previously he was actually the business analyst and controller at Incorp Indonesia. This year, in January 2022, he was actually newly appointed as the Chief Operations Officer of Incorp Indonesia. And with that introduction, thank you for being here, Pak Daris, and the floor is yours.
Okay, thank you, Yumna, for the words. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the third webinar in our series, Indonesia 5.0, Navigating Through Business Expansion. My name is Daris Salam, and I'm the Chief Operating Officer of Incorp Indonesia. Today's webinar is called Starting and Expanding Your Tech Company in Indonesia, and we'll focus on the strategy of understanding the Indonesian tech industry and creating brand sustainability for new tech company in the post-pandemic era. In the past decades, the tech industry is one of the leading business sectors that keeps thriving over the years. Positive trend influenced many entrepreneurs to set up their own tech companies. This also coincided with the Indonesian regulation to promote investment. Right? The positive investment list is one of the government's attempts to create an ease of doing business in Indonesia. The list consists of many business sectors and industries that are open for foreign investment in Indonesia. Almost all of the sectors are applicable through the online submission service or OSS, which helps to expedite the incorporation process. This webinar also will focus on sharing what should be prepared for the incorporation of new business in Indonesia and their challenges. The event will also share insight on how to thrive in developing the tech company beyond expectation. To give valuable insights on these issues, first we have Pak Ricky Haryadi, Strategic Partnership, Corporate Business Development and Venture at Microsoft Indonesia. Welcome, Pak Ricky Haryadi. He will discuss the enabling tech company to grow in Indonesia. Then we have Ibu Marisa Muhsin, Indonesia representative at ClickNext. She will talk about how ClickNext expand a tech company to Indonesia. Welcome, Ibu Marisa. And last but not least, we have Pak Fitvan Bramantio, Chief Executive Officer at Incorp Indonesia, who will share about tech company registration in Indonesia. Welcome, Pak Fitvan. Thank you for joining the webinar. And before I close the remark, I would like to share a bit about current state of our business. So, Chekindo is now Incorp Indonesia starting at September 2022. So, this meaning our company, Chekindo Business International, will be serving our clients under Incorp Group. As part of Incorp Group, we are thriving in setting up an integrated ecosystem of professional business solution in Indonesia. We also already have regional footprint in several area. As a start, we start the business in Indonesia at 2012 as Chekindo, and currently in Indonesia we already have 7 offices spread in Jakarta, Bali, Semarang, Batam, and Surabaya, and will be more in upcoming years. Those are supported by our local team as well as international consults. And several years ago, we expand our business outside Indonesia, and we already succeed to localize our business in Vietnam, yeah, in order to help client position their business in the best way possible or as seamless as it can be. And then in order to make our brand to be more global, we have cooperation, we have collaboration with Incorp Group Singapore, the entity that delivers an integrated ecosystem for those who looking to establish their first office to expand their existing operation in Singapore and beyond. With its presence in 8 countries, Incorp Group provide a diversity of expertise that benefits business from all over the world. And finally, we succeed with this collaboration, and in September 2022, Chekindo was rebranded to Incorp Indonesia. Okay, without any more prolonged word, we had love to make this webinar as relevant as possible for our participants. So we will have prizes for the 3 lucky participants who can win by asking a question during the Q&A session. Now, let's pass it on to our speaker. Thank you, and I hope you have a wonderful webinar session. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Padaris, for the delightful opening remarks. As Padaris mentioned, I would like to encourage you all to prepare questions. I see we already have some questions asked by some attendees. Don't worry, we will answer your questions by the end of the session. To everyone else, we do encourage you guys to ask questions, as we will be giving 3 door prizes for participants who ask the most interesting questions. So please do not hesitate to open the chat box and write your questions directly into that during the presentations. So next, I'd like to introduce our next speaker, Ricky Haryadi. He is responsible for driving in-market identification, development, and execution of opportunities to accelerate growth in Microsoft's customer solution areas and industry clouds. Ricky's experience at Microsoft has allowed him to create valuable transformational partnerships throughout the APAC region. So, ladies and gentlemen, please give a warm welcome to Ricky Haryadi, and we are so delightful to have you today. The floor is yours.
Yeah. Thanks, Incor, for inviting me to the webinar today. So just quick check, Yumna, how many minutes do I have?
That is a great question. I would say 15 minutes.
Okay, cool. So, yeah, if you can help operate the next slide. So hi, nice to meet you all. I'm Ricky. I'm part of the Microsoft corporate team, strategic partnership, corporate business development and venture. This is a new division that has established in Microsoft in the recent years, expanding across Asia Pacific, Southeast Asia, and New Zealand. So I'll share with you about how, if you are building a startup, a new startup or a new expansion startup that you're planning to expand in Indonesia or outside of in this region, Southeast Asia, this is how a technology company like Microsoft can help you. So if you go to the next slide, I'll start with Microsoft Mission. So Microsoft Mission used to be a PC in every desk during the Bill Gates time. I think we have achieved that today. And now, therefore, we changed our mission. So in simple words, is to empower every person and organization on the planet to achieve more. In more simpler word, we are not a cool company, but we are the company that make others look cool. That's the empowerment version. So if you can go to the next slide, Microsoft for Startups specifically is a mission to help all founders. If you're business founders, if you are either tech founders or a non-tech founders that are trying to innovate in the tech era, you're being disrupted by tech. This is the technology, the program and the tools that can help you. So next slide, please. Therefore, I'm introducing to you Microsoft for Startups Founders Hub. This is open to anyone with an idea, from just an idea into a later stage startup like Series D, Series E, or even if you would like almost go to IPO stage. So it's very simple. You just need to go to the website and register yourself. So I'll explain to you what is the benefit that you can get. Is it cost or is it free? I'll start with this video first. Okay, so there are four. So you've seen the video. There are 4 stages that you can receive the benefit if you sign up with this program, right? So it starts with the idea develop, grow, and scale phase, it depends on your current startup or your business stage. So if you are on the ideation version, we will give you up to $1,000 Microsoft Azure credits so that you can try to develop your ideas, try to build a prototype or something like that. And along the way, as your startups grows into more customers, more funds, series, etc., we will also adjust our benefit to according to your stage. So the benefit is various. So if you can go to the next slide, please. So it's not just about the cloud, right? Yeah, we understand that if you are startups, you need a lot more tools, such as productivity tools, collaboration tools to talk with each other, a documentation like Microsoft Office we provide for free. If you are having a developer team, we provide GitHub so that your team can work seamlessly each other and make sure that your code is proprietary to your company, not to the person that owns the code, right? And that writes the code. And if you are building if you, for example, you are a B2B company, then later stage you will need a CRM system. You cannot track your own sales pipeline using Excel anymore. For example, you need a better CRM. We also provide that as part of the package benefit. So you will get almost every Microsoft products in this program for free. So next slide. How does it works? We'll start with a scenario. Next slide, please. So let's say we have two founders here, Shia and Adrian. I'm just making these names up, right? One is a technical co-founder, the other one is a business co-founder, and they decide to join this program, right? And next slide, please. If once they, so what you need to do if you are signing up with the program, you need a LinkedIn profile, your own LinkedIn profile, and your company detail filled in the form. I will highly suggest you that once you fill the form, you fill with very details of your company, of your idea. And later, once you're accepted, for example, in this case, Shia and Adrian get accepted into level 2. So next slide, please. So in the level 2 on the top right, you'll see there is the benefit that they get. Not just the Azure cloud credit, but also the collaboration tools, Microsoft 365, the developer tools, the training contents, the one-on-one technical contents. Again, it doesn't stop there. Once the company grow, you will be eligible to get into the level 3 or level 4 stage as you grow. Next slide. So you can sign up, you will get an offer there. You just need to activate, then you can straight away use the cloud without any prerequisite requirement, right? Next slide. And this is a typical scenario that we face sometimes. A lot of people know how to develop a code, but doesn't know how to publish the code into the cloud so that everyone can access. You can, next slide, please. You can later in the same portal, you can set up a technical help one-on-one session in each pillar. So if you don't understand about your infrastructure, if you don't understand about the security part, if you don't understand how DevOps, you can set up all the technical guidance. But it's just not the technical guidance. There's also, if you're marketing people, if you're business people, there's also a mentor network for those kind of roles, like business, like founders, like technical, monetization, partnership, all of those tasks is also covered there. And one of the most interesting thing is, next slide, please. You don't just get an access to Microsoft technology, but you get access to our partner ecosystem technology. So for example, OpenAI, one of the company founded by Elon Musk, one of the co-founder, building a very enhanced AI, you will get the access to their technology as well at the same time. Figma, if you are a UI UX design, you must be really familiar with these tools. You will get the access to these benefits as well. So next slide. This is the one that I show you. Technical guidance is not enough. Sometimes business growth, business challenge is also required. Therefore, we provide. Next slide, please. the business guidance on the second core pillar. And the next slide, the other side. Other than that, the previous one is the technical partners. Now this one is business partners. So the our partner ecosystem that's supporting business. So they are also providing tools to help you scale your business, grow your business, like LinkedIn or Mural if you would like to do collaboration, or Miro, etc. And you can leverage it. Or Troops. Troops is really interesting because they are building an internal sales competition inside your company. And finally, next slide, please. You can communicate the progress via your company profile. So you can get one dashboard. For example, if your benefit is getting lower, you'll almost run out of a credit, you can raise a ticket support saying that, hey, my company is growing, my credit is almost running out, I would like to please ask to go to the next level so that you'll gain more benefit. Next up. So the benefits can get access if you start building on Microsoft Cloud, specifically Microsoft Azure, and you create a product demo video that you can show to the team. Then we can top up your credits, your tank, and move you to for example, in this case, Adrian Asia level 2, then we can move them to the level 3. So it's a quite straightforward process, and I'll close this very short and sharp presentation with one video testimony of our startups across Asia Pacific, including one of them in Indonesia, that has been accepted and enrolled into this program. Next slide, please.
You shouldn't be afraid to be a visionary, and you should try to find opportunities in every situation.
So we figured that, listen, let's just do it ourselves.
We're building a startup, and so it's all about growth.
As a startup, we do pride ourselves on being able to deliver fast.
一個好嘅 idea 之後咧，就需要有好嘅執行力，將諗法應用喺生活上邊。
We wanted to use our coding knowledge to help people solve problems.
It all happens with technology as our base and as our key partner.
Whatever technology we use has to solve business problems at the end of the day.
Our eyes were open because of the sort of like the infrastructure and the capability that Microsoft has to offer in terms of a startup like ours, especially that we are just starting to grow and starting to scale.
Microsoft started as a software company, so there's enormous amount of experience that we can tap into.
Everything just transformed digitally, and we could do it through Microsoft Teams. And essentially, I think within the first 2 months itself, we actually had our first closing, first sales closing, where we didn't even meet the client in a face-to-face environment.
Endorsement by such a globally recognized and highly respected firm like Microsoft will definitely be an amazing asset to have by helping us attain a level of credibility and trust.
I think the biggest key ambition for us is to go towards conquering the Southeast Asia. Microsoft have helped us open that door.
So I'll close with this one slide. Microsoft believe Asia is not next, but today is the engine of innovation. We've seen that, we saw that, we experienced that, powered by ambition. And we would like to empower all of you, all of the creators across Asia, across Indonesia, with our technology. Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much, Fariki, for your insightful presentation and for joining us this afternoon. It is quite clear that Microsoft is quite committed to encouraging innovation, no matter how large or small the company. And it is great to see Microsoft empowering and providing solutions to companies of any size. So for anyone that wants to ask Fariki any questions, please feel free to write them down in the Q&A chat box. And also don't forget that whoever asks a question will have the opportunity to win one of our door prizes. So with that, thank you again, Fariki. We'll be moving on to our next speaker. So
thank you.
No worries. So our next speaker is Ibu Marisa Musin, who is an Indonesian representative for ClickNext, and she is responsible for supporting Indonesian SMEs in their digital transformation. So, ladies and gentlemen, please give a warm welcome to Ibu Marisa, and the floor is yours.
Okay, hello, good afternoon, everyone. Can you all hear my voice?
Yes.
Okay, so the slide will be shared from Incorp side, right? Okay, so please allow me to introduce myself. My name is Marissa, and I'm the Indonesia representative for ClickNext Thailand. So ClickNext is basically a Thai-based software company. So we do quite a lot of things, and I am representing myself as one of the directors in Indonesia. And what ClickNext is basically do is we make website builders. We have SMS marketing platforms, one of Thailand's top broadcasting platforms, as well as AI and other.
I think we're having some technical difficulties with Miss Marisa's audio. Can you? Hi, sorry, can you hear us?
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Sorry.
No worries. Maybe you can start from the beginning if that's all right.
Okay, sorry. It's raining really hard in my place, so maybe the internet connection is like quite hard, but tough. Okay, so
no worries.
From the beginning, it's okay. Okay.
Yeah.
So
fine.
to sum up a little bit, so ClickNext is basically Thailand's top 5 software company. We do quite a lot of stuff in Thailand. We make websites. We do website builder, probably similar to Wix. We have like SMS marketing platform, broadcasting platform, as well as some AIs and some hardwares as well. But in Indonesia, we just started like in 2021. I mean, our legal entity started at 2021. And we start with our platform product, which is Make Web Easy. So can you please go to the next slide? And so currently we have like 6 types of products in Thailand. In Thailand itself, we've been around the market for almost 20 years. One of the pioneers of softwares. But in Indonesia, we're still very small, still struggling as well to actually become like a more growing startup. So I'm not considering our company as like the big startups, or we don't use VCs, so we use like completely our own capital for this. And also thank you Incorp and Chekindo for assisting our basically company penetration to Indonesia. So basically Incorp has helped us quite a lot during the beginning. And the process was really fast, and they have a lot of insights from the industry experts as well. So we begin by injecting Make Web Easy to Indonesia. So the website is makewebeasy.com. And right now we have around 3,000 users in Indonesia for the website builder. So it's like a platform where everyone can basically make their own website without coding. Yeah, but in the future, we're also looking for potential partnership to engage in more of our products. Okay, so next slide, please. Yeah, so this is basically what we do in general. And we also have a plan to expand to Australia early next year. So one of our target is to actually have a strong presence in the ASEAN and surrounding countries as well. Okay, next slide. Okay, so the short story. So I joined this company in May 2020. So it's more like a story sharing. I believe Pak Ricky and Pak Fitvan and Pak Daris also have like much more experience than what I have. But this is like sharing is caring. So I share a little bit of our small journey in here. Yeah. So basically, I joined the company ClickNext in May 2020. So they wanted to expand to Indonesia at that time. The owner wants to have like a company in Indonesia, considering that they also want to have an IPO in Thailand. So they need to have a mandatory international market. So they chose Indonesia over Vietnam at that time and Philippines because they believe that, the political issues in Indonesia and the some of the trust issues are better in Indonesia in their perspective. And the country is like huge, but it's also not easy to actually establish a company in Indonesia. So we did a market research for like a full 1 year. And at that time, I was just by myself, doing like desktop research for almost 1 year. And we see like, we have been translating, some stuff and see some comparisons, or, what's the difference between Thailand market and Indonesian market. Happened to be that Indonesia have a lot more potential to scale, but the individual buying power is different and less lower than ones in Thailand. Indonesia Raya. Yes. Like that time. Okay. And I do speak Thai and Indonesian. So it's quite important to actually have a very smooth communication, between the investor and the local team. So that's how I also bridge to actually local teams in Indonesia. And after that, actually we also have ClickNext also did some other market research in Burmese. They even hire like French guy to actually do market research in Europe, but it seems like the culture gap is quite high. So they decided to focus on Indonesian market instead. And here we are. We established a local PT in Indonesia, and everything was basically handled by Incorp. And in here, it's quite important to have someone in between, like Chekindo or like Incorp, because sometimes it's quite hard to communicate the culture difference. Even though like we're very similar, but there's still a culture difference between Indonesia and Thailand. So at that time, Incorp also helped bridging that culture gap. Yeah. And next, probably. Okay, so so we decide to have like a full 100% local team in Indonesia. So there is no, like, including myself, we are 100% local Indonesians running the team. But we do also have a weekly report to our headquarters, and we speak in English when we report to them. And I think it's very crucial to have like a very strong local team in Indonesia, because I think so many regulations and even the cultures, it's really affecting the performance of the company as well. And during the beginning, we experienced quite some weird experience as well. So we penetrate the market with Google Ads and not yet focusing on SEO. So we just do like some advertising. And at that time, 95% of our clients are basically coming from the casino, local judi, gambling websites because they dominate the digital market, and they make websites really fast. So that was like our should be my team's issue at the beginning, because it's also raised questions, you know, to the investor and the owner, like whether Indonesia is like the right market or not. But we see, like, you know, other competitors of us, they do really quite well. They have like a good base. So we decided to actually came up with a bot to basically you know, shoot those gambling websites. And apparently we able to solve that issue like 3 to 4 months after that. But during the beginning, like, we cannot you know, really secure a good traffic because of that issue. But apparently it went quite well right now. And we also use several other tools as well right now. So more than apparently not just like Google Ads, we also do other types of partnerships in Indonesia. And since this is just our second year, we are still in the progress of actually you know, still fitting the market. Yeah, still a lot of things to learn. Since I also spend myself mostly not in Indonesia, so there's like more things that I need to learn in Indonesia. Yeah. So next. We also see that social impact is our strategy. So this is actually an area where most startups, like not all startups, are focusing on. So we try to find like you know, some equity-free you know, collaboration. So we made it to like Hyundai Startup Challenge this year. We made it to like the final round, and currently we are fighting for the top three top three place. But it's like quite a lot of experience, and it's quite nice. Like since I believe that our company is not that big. I mean, in terms of like capital, we're not as big as, you know, Ajaib or as like Tokopedia or JNT. But so we try to find like more into like a niche market, and we came up with social impact related digital marketing. And so we able to actually manage some opportunities from that, and we create like some private partnership, private public partnership from that, and collaborating with some government how do you call it, some government ministries as well. And everything is basically organic, because I don't really have much connection in Indonesia at the first time. Most of them are just like my close friends, and I don't have any like channels on everything, so everything is basically organic. So next. Yeah, and most of the people in my company are basically young people. So including me, we're still under 30s, and really still struggling to actually, you know, fight for a better future. And so I started to actually contact some government bodies, some government institutions in Yogyakarta, and I also contacted SMEs related influencers. Everything is organic, and I just basically you know, shot that if we can do like partnerships. So that's basically what we do, apart from, you know, Google Ads, SEO, social, Facebook, social media management as well. So this is basically what we do. And right now we are planning to actually scale up a little bit more around next year by doing more partnerships with some private entities as well. And in here, you know, maybe I think a little bit different with some of our, you know, competitors. If we see like website builders, they have like, how you call it? Website builders have a lot of competitors in here, and there are so many big players in Indonesia that I cannot compete. So I actually like approach them to actually do partnerships. So like for example, Niaga Hoster, they are actually our competitors, but not really like an apple to apple competitor. So I approach them if we can do like partnerships, and they're open. So this is also one of our strategy. If you cannot beat them, then just hold their hands together. So there's no need for us to actually really fully compete with everyone, because Indonesia is actually a very, very big market. If we can collaborate, if we can actually, do more partnerships, I think it's much more easier, to do things in here. Yeah. So basically that's a short sharing from me. So I can see some questions in here. Not really sure if should I answer it now or later.
We actually have a Q&A session at the very end after all the presentation. So we'll let you know what the questions are later on.
Okay. Thank
All
you.
right.
I think that's all.
All right. Thank you so much, Ibu Marisa, for your insightful presentation. It was really cool to learn a little bit about ClickNext's journey into Indonesia and the tools you guys provide as a solution to enhancing businesses in Indonesia and Thailand, and hopefully beyond. So now let's move on to our last speaker, Fitvan Brahmantio, who is the CEO of Incorp Indonesia. So with more than 16 years of experience in business and financial consultation and management, Fitvan was appointed as the Chief Executive Officer of Incorp Indonesia in January 2022. He is also responsible for pitching strategic business plans, setting high performance expectations, and also overseeing wealth management. His experience and passion in business and financial management has led him to gain exhaustive know-how in corporate finance, financial performance strategy, business consultancy, business development, and corporate expansion. So without further ado, welcome, Fitvan, and again, the floor is yours.
Hi, Yumna. Thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for attending this webinar. This is a very interesting webinar, actually. So, first of all, I want to say thank you to Pak Ricky from Microsoft, and then Ibu Marisa from ClickNext for joining the webinar and sharing the experience regarding with your tech company in Indonesia. So before we move to the topics, I want to say that empower and also partnership is very strong words in the business. Thank you, Pak Ricky. And I do believe that Microsoft and ClickNext already did it right in Indonesia. That's why they are a great company and survive every challenge for the past several years, especially in Indonesia. So just like Microsoft and also ClickNext, Incorp Indonesia has a same visions with you guys, that we want to be as an enabler for the business owner, for the company to grow their business, especially in Indonesia. So that's, I think, the keywords. Empower and partnership is important, especially when you want to enter like Indonesian market, which the culture is relatively different with the other countries, but we have a lot of opportunity and potentials to become one of the strongest country in terms of economy in the world. So we go back to the topic. So tech company registrations in Indonesia. If we talk about the tech company registrations in Indonesia, we need to understand about the economic conditions in Indonesia. We can see the economic crisis is always in the horizons for the past several years. We can see the US and also China trade war in 2018, and we also saw the COVID-19 pandemic starting in I think March 2022, maybe until today, March 2020, even until today in 2022. The pandemic still exists in Indonesia also like that, and we can see now the Russia and Ukraine war in 2022 also disrupt our supply chain, which it impacts a lot of countries, not only Indonesians. It also impact European, it also impact US, it also impact other ASEAN countries, etc., etc. And then it not only impact the economy, it also impact our lives. Yeah. However, as we can see, foreign direct investment in Indonesia keep moving on the positive directions, starting from 2020, 2021, 2022. The trend is always positive. And outside Vietnam and India, I think Indonesia has very good in terms of growth related with the GDP, gross domestic product. We growth in this 2021 more than 5%, just like Vietnam and also India, and predicted in the 2022 we will have around also 5% in terms of GDP growth in 2022. So next slide, please. So why you need to invest in Indonesia? So this is important. You need to understand the Indonesian market, the Indonesian culture, the Indonesian economy. So we are very, in terms of locations, we located between two oceans, the Pacific and Indian Oceans, and the two continents, which is fast-growing continents, Asia and also Australia. So we are located very strategic locations in terms of the locations, and then we have more than, right now I think it's more than 270 millions in terms of populations, and more than 60% is a very productive people with consumptive. Yeah, we have power to buy. That's why a lot of supplier, a lot of company want to enter to Indonesia and sell their products in Indonesia. And also based on our culture, we are more accepting people in terms of receiving the foreign direct investment, receiving the foreigner people in Indonesia. So it is very interesting, yeah, for business owners when they want to expand their business in Indonesia. Indonesia is very interesting market. And then in terms of GDP, I already mentioned earlier, we grew 5%, more than 5% in 2021, and expected we also have more than 5% growth in 2022. Even though the crisis is in the horizon, the recession is coming in 2023, but I think Indonesia will survive the recessions, and we predict the GDP growth in 2023 is more than 4%. Okay. Next slide, please. So the next question is, are you ready to invest in Indonesia? What do you need to understand about investment in Indonesia? First, we have four areas that need to be considered. The first one is related with the country risk landscape. So yeah, like as like a businessman, other businessmen, we understand that high risk is high return, but we need to manage the risk so it will create value to us and it will growing our business. Yeah, so you need to understand the risk, you need to identify the risk, and then after that you need to mitigate the risk. We can see from the political aspect, and then regulatory aspect, economic and market aspect, and then social and cultural aspect. And then after that, conduct research. I agree with Bu Marisha. You need to understand the customer point of view, the customer perspective, the market perspective. So prepare preliminary market analysis is very important for us before we enter Indonesian market. Yeah. You need to understand your competitors, market trends, your target segmentations, market growth, unhappy customer. You need to disrupt unhappy customer to gather more tractions in Indonesian market, etc., etc. So this is the second things that you need to consider prior entering the Indonesian market. And then the third thing related with the strategy. So we have several market entry strategy. For example, you can create like a joint venture, or you can do it like merger and acquisitions. And then you need to understand your partner, right? If you want to sell your products, you need to understand your distributor in Indonesia. If you are a tech company, you need to understand who is your competitors. What is the size of the market is important. And then the strategy to penetrate the market, you need to understand that one. And then the fourth things that need to be considered related with the transactions. You need to perform the valuation analysis. You need to understand your financial model, your business model. You need to perform the due diligence to understand about maybe your partner. You need to understand the local compliance, because sometimes Indonesians regulations is very complex. So that's why you need to understand that one. Next slide, please. Okay, we will talk about the first areas here, the country risk landscape, especially the political aspect, because we can see that we are in 2024, we will enter the political years, which we will perform the presidential elections in 2024, which it will create several issues in the business. So you need to understand that one. Sometimes in the political years, market has a different behavior sometimes in the political year. So you need to perform analysis on this one. You need to identify the risk related with the political aspect, and then you need to create like a mitigations to ensure that you can mitigate the risk and you can get value and growing your business. And then the second one related with the regulatory aspect. Indonesian has several regulations starting from, we call it like an undang-undang, and then we also have like local regulations from local governments, etc., etc. So you need to understand that one, and then you need to analyze the regulatory aspect, what will impact our business, especially tech companies. What is the regulations that impact our business? What we need to do to comply with the regulations? Is there any inconsistency related with the regulations in Indonesia? So you can manage the risk and then mitigate the risk to ensure you can grow your business in Indonesia. Next slide, please. And then the third one related with the economic and market aspect. You need to understand your market, how big is the market that you want to penetrate, who is your competitors, and then you can perform like a market segmentations to ensure that you penetrate the right market that fit with your services or your products, etc., etc. And last but not least, of course, social and cultural aspect. For example, in Indonesia, most of us are Muslims, so maybe you need to understand that Muslim people has several behavior that you need to consider prior to entering the Indonesian market. Okay, we can go to the next slide, please. So what is the pain points of technology companies in Indonesia? First of all, we already issued our regulation related with the data privacy, which already approved by our government. So, of course, managed privacy is very important. As a technology company, you gather a lot of data, individual data that need to protect, right? For example, like Google, they asking about your emails, your password, and sometimes For example, financial service industry, fintech, peer-to-peer lending. They also asking your ID card, sometimes your sensitive data that need to be protected. So this will be our pain points in related to this one. And then second things, yeah, we need to, yeah, this is hard to say, but Indonesian has lack of qualified talents related with the technology companies. That's why some of our technology company, for example, Gojek, outsource their manpower to other countries that have the proper knowledge and qualifications of talents to improve their services to their customers. So yeah, this is the second pain points of technology companies in Indonesia. You need to understand about this one. Next slide, please. So what should we do relative to the conduct research? You need to understand the competitor analysis, the market size, who is the players. For example, if we talk about e-commerce, we have Tokopedia, Shopee, Bukalapak, etc., etc. What is the market size? And then who is the players? What is your target segmentation? Is it a B2B or retail? What is the customer behavior analysis? You need to understand that one. How much is the market growth, and then market trends and development. So before you enter the Indonesian market, you already have this research, so you can create a strategy to fit between your product and service to the market. So you can ensure that your business is growing in Indonesia and you can get a lot of benefit, yeah, by entering the Indonesian market. Next slide, please. So this is the several examples for formulating the market strategy. First, related to the joint venture, we can see several joint ventures in Indonesia between company from outside Indonesia work together with the company in Indonesia, and then having a partnership. They are creating the business, creating the sales, the revenues, and then sharing between each other. This part, joint venture, is part of the risk transfers between them. So by having the joint venture, they will create a ecosystem, yeah, to their business. And then the second one is related with the export or trading. So you don't need to create a very large team in Indonesia. You only need to create like a representative office or very minimal resources in Indonesia, and then you do like an export, import, or trading. So this one can be the options. And then the third one related to the franchise. We can see Indonesia has several franchise that maximize their presence in Indonesia. For example, McDonald's, Disney, KFC, etc., etc. And then last but not least, maybe doing the merger and acquisitions, just like what we did in Incorp Indonesia, Incorp Global entering Indonesian market by performing the acquisitions to Incorp Indonesia. So yeah, you need to understand, and then you need to create and formulate the market entry strategy to ensure you can get attractions in Indonesia. Next slide, please. And then from the transaction process point of view, yeah, we can do like valuations. What is our company value? What is the future prospect? Do you have the access for funding? So, and then the next one related to the financial model review. How many years you have as your runway? So the ability to forecast the revenue. Where do you get the revenue from? Is it from the customer A, B, C, D, E? And then you need to calculate the cost for your projects, and then you can create the budgets, yeah. And then the third one is related with the due diligence. You can perform like a review or audit related to the financial aspect, yeah. Due diligence, we can do like a financial due diligence, tax due diligence, etc., etc. And we can also consider a sales and purchase agreement review, yeah. Next slide, please. So, what Incorp can help. Next slide, please. We can help by several things, but before we help, tech company need to understand this one. Relevant regulations that technology companies must comply in Indonesia. Yeah. First, related with the information and electronic transactions, of course. This is very important for you. And then we also have a limited liability company. The options will be PMA or domestic PT. And then the third one related with the copyright. And then the fourth one related to the trademarks. And the fifth one related with the information and electronic transactions. And we also have several regulations related with the technology companies. For example, we can talk about the taxation regulations. We can talk about something else maybe that you need to consider before entering Indonesia. So next slide, please. Nah, Incorp Indonesia can help by facilitating you as a business owner, as company to enter Indonesian market. First, we can facilitate your company incorporations, company registrations in Indonesia. If you want to have 100% ownership, we call it PMA, penanaman modal asing. You can hold the share 100%. You can choose the PMA options. If you want to have a partnership with the local people or local individual, you can create domestic PT. So what should we do? There are several requirements to create a company in Indonesia. You need to fulfill this one, but believe me, Indonesian government, Indonesian presidents already simplify the process. They are trying to create like a motto, is doing business in Indonesia. So the timeline is quite short right now comparing the previous years. So don't worry. Approximately for company registration is more or less around 1.5 months. And then if you want to enter Indonesia, if you want your subject matter expert or your team to enter Indonesia to lead the Indonesian company that already registered, you can apply for work visa or KITAS. So it's approximately around 2 months to create this one. So you can put your best team in Indonesia to generate the revenue and growing the business. And the next, please. And the second options, you also can create like an RO, Indonesian Representative Office. So you can do like a market research, and then you can test your services, your product in Indonesia before you entering in full force. So this is like tractions. So if you already get the tractions, you can move from representative office to company registrations, company incorporations, to minimize the risk, if your product cannot fit into our market, Indonesian market, maybe the value that you already invest not as big as you create a company in Indonesia. Okay, next slide, please. And then Incorp want to make sure that all of you as a business owner, as a company, to focus on your core businesses, core process, and then we can help by assisting you from the supporting processes. For examples, related with the payroll services, human resource outsourcing, employee search, etc., etc. And the next, we also can help. Next slide, please. We also can help you by handling your financial statements, accounting, and then also tax. Indonesians has progressive tax rates related with the individual income tax and also Indonesian corporate income tax. But outside of that, on top of that, we also have like a value added tax, etc., etc. So based on this presentation, I just want to share that Indonesian market is very interesting for the next several years. If you want to grow your business, maybe this is the right time for you to enter Indonesia, because even though several recessions, economic recessions already happened that hit Indonesia, we still can survive. And I do believe in 2023, although around the globe will face the economic recessions, Indonesia will survive this one also. And we are here to help you with our services. Okay, thank you. Back to you, Yumna.
Thank you so much, Pak Ridwan, for your presentation. I think that was very insightful. I think it was good to know the processes of starting a company, especially in tech, and also the specific compliances, which can be quite complicated. So thank you again, Pak, for your presentation. So now is the exciting part. It is time to open up our Q&A session. And it looks like we already have a lot of questions. So let's wait for a question to pop up onto the screen, and then I will let you know who this is directed at as well. Okay, so this first question is from Mento Morio. I think this question could be directed to maybe Afid Fun. So they have 3 questions. Let's start with the first. What is the actual tax for transferring funds abroad, US and Russia, from income to the target account?
Wow, this is very technical questions.
Yes.
So we have regulation related to the tax. So from Indonesia transferring funds abroad to outside Indonesian countries, there are several percentage that need to be paid to tax office. The percentage, I think I need to understand more about this one, but we need to pay those percentage to Indonesian tax office. So yes, there is like a tax related with this one.
All right, thank you.
Nothing is for free.
No, of
Nothing
course,
is free
nothing
in
is for
Indonesia.
free. I think the next 2 questions we can probably combine. So they also asked, does the government watch after an actual investment of 10 billion rupiah? And can real estate become an investment for an IT company?
Okay, so yes, I think Indonesian governments watch after actual investment of 10 billion, because we call it this is a mandatory placement, right, for every PMA company in Indonesia. So they need to ensure that the money is invested to Indonesia based on their company objective, right? Okay, Pak Daris, do you have questions?
No, Pak. I just would like to assist you about how to answer the question number 1, actually.
Oh, okay, Pak Daris, go ahead, Pak, because I forgot the percentage, Pak.
Yeah, okay. So overall, for transferring the funds abroad, no matter to where, whether to US and Russia, it is applied tax article 26, where the percentage is 20% actually. However, there are some exemption like tax treaty. Indonesia already have tax treaty with several country, and I believe with US and Russia it's already there. So there will be significant adjustment of tax rate. Yeah, instead of 20%, maybe it's around 10%. And moreover, for some contractual project with limited time, it will be depends on the time, and it should be referred to the time test in the tax treaty. For example, if the time test is only 6 months between Indonesia and US, then if the contractual projects less than 6 months, then there will be no tax, or it means zero tax for that. I think that's it.
Okay, thank you, Pak Daris, for the help. And then for the second
right.
questions, yeah, the governments will monitor the investment of 10 billion IDR, Indonesian rupiah. So where the money will be invested, because it's already mandatory, right? That need to be fulfilled by the company registered in Indonesia. Okay, and then the number 3, maybe it depends, yeah. It depends on the company's need. If you pick but it's very rare looking at a IT company that have also like a real estate, yeah. Maybe you can create like a subsidiaries that focus on the real estate. So you can create business real estate business under the group company or the IT company as the holding companies. Okay, Yumna.
All right. Thank you so much for your answer, Pak Yitpan, and also Pak Daris for assisting him. So I think we will move on to the next question. This is for Pak Ricky. Chianki asks, is Founders Hub only available for Indonesian citizens or startups?
Yeah, thanks. No, it's available globally wherever Microsoft operates across the globe.
All right, that is good news for whoever asked this question. So next, we have a question from Alyssa for Miss Marissa. Dear Marissa, may I know what aspects you consider when you're doing market research to choose the right country to expand to? Thank you.
Okay, so I answered directly, yeah. Okay, so what aspects did I consider? Actually, it's not my consideration, it's my boss. But I can share a little bit about what, his thinking. So the investor's thinking. During the early stage, at least in my company, at first they will see the whole potential. They see on the population, number one. They see like how the population is growing. I think there are many other countries that also, for example, Thailand is not a small market. We have like 70 something million people, but the population is going down. And as you know, Elon Musk says that declining population is actually a very big issue. So what my boss said, he's Thai. He said that I think Thai economy is going down. That's what he says. And probably in the future, probably Indonesians will have more buying power than Thailand in the future. That's what he thinks as a founder. And then secondly, he sees like if there's any potential partnerships. So in this case, gladfully, I'm half Thai and I'm half Indonesian, so that's why he trusts me as a partner to actually invest in Indonesia. So actually, that's also his second biggest concern. If there's any, is there any like existing partner? And recently, he decided to go to Australia because he has, an existing partner there. So I think having a partner like the right partner is also like a big preference, at least for Asian people, or at least for people like in Thailand, considering having a second market or third market, because in our opinion, even though we look very similar from outside, it is still quite challenging to actually know the real local taste. So I think partnerships is very important as the second aspect. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Miss Marissa, for your answer. I hope that answered your question, Melissa. And our next question is for Pak Ricky again, from Luca Jackson. So Luca asks, hi, Pak Ricky, could you let us know one case study of the startup that was admitted to level 1? What were their challenges and how are they doing so far?
Hey, yeah. I don't exactly have top of mind what is the name of the startup, but I saw several acceptance, even though it's only an ideation stage. There is no product yet. There's no product market fit. It's just concepts. As long as one, as I mentioned, your LinkedIn profile is credible. Second, when you fill the form, you fill it with quite exhaustive information. Now, on the challenge side, this is not specific on level 1 only. I think this is the common challenge across Southeast Asia startups, born startups, right? One, there are two types of tech startups that we are talking about: the B2B version and the B2C version. The B2C version, I think most of Southeast Asia is emerging countries, except Singapore, obviously. Therefore, you cannot buy loyalties of your customers via promotion. That's for sure. You're going to be only burning money if you're only using promotion as your growth engine. That's where all the big startups that now already or soon to be IPO having challenges, especially in this new economic downturn. That's on the B2C side. On the B2B side, product market fit, definitely. So finding the right product market fit, adjusting to the specific customer or to the specific industry that they are targeting is sometimes the challenge, because we saw fast growing startups three years ago in our ecosystem, and then in the last few months they need to do whatever they take to maintain the anchor customer for them. So shifting the focus from building their own product into so-called like a software house, where they are now lacking of skill if you're becoming a software house compared to you're building a product, right? So I would say B2C, customer loyalty, customer on the B2B side is the product market fit on what's you're trying to solve. What is the problem that you're trying to solve? Do we see a lot of success? Yes. Do we see Indonesian company or Southeast Asia companies starting to expand to other region? For example, Vietnamese company trying to expand to Indonesia, Thailand company trying to expand to Indonesia, Indonesian company trying to expand to Australia or Singapore. Yes, we see that. I hope it's not too long.
All right.
Thanks.
Yeah, no, that's great. It's good to have long answers. Thank you so much, Pariki. I think we do have some more questions, so let's wait for the next ones to come up. Okay, we have another one here from Xianqi again. They ask, hi Marissa, how does the Indonesian market differ compared to other countries? For example, China and Vietnam. Based on your experience, what were the most crucial aspects that foreign companies need to know about and consider before deciding to expand to Indonesia?
Okay, thanks for the question. First, I don't really know, China or Vietnam market, as I have no experience at all, doing business in those countries. But I can share a little bit some differences between Indonesia and Thailand. In my case, it looks very, very similar, Indonesia and Thailand from the outside. And I believe these two countries has a really, really good chemistry, especially, when I compare back then, when even in the university time, I saw like some Thai people mingling, with Indonesian people, and they really do quite well. But I believe Indonesia has, different in terms of regulations. As like, for example, in Thailand, it's really easy to establish a company, or like, foreign investment is like much easy. But in Indonesia, there are certain, it's not hard, but it's just like you need to have like the right partner, or the right consultant to actually expand to Indonesia. Some aspects you can do it by yourself. In Thailand, administrative stuff you can do it by yourself, but in Indonesia, you need to have some local consultants more than compared in Thailand. And I think Indonesia have a lot of localization that we need to consider, especially that we are a Muslim country. So the company regulations, your products, and even like the services that you provide need also to follow as well. The local regulations. And the most crucial aspects that foreign companies need to know about and consider before deciding to expand to Indonesia, I would suggest that please do like a lot of research, especially competitor research in Indonesia. At least like you don't need to waste like much time failing. So in my case, we seek a lot of knowledge by looking at our similar competitors. We also even like talk to some Thai companies that expanded to Indonesia. So we learn a lot from them as well. So I think that's most crucial aspects too.
All right. Thank you so much for your answer, Ms. Marissa, once again. We have a question from Fei Xiangying. I think this would probably be for Fitwan or Padaris. And they asked, can a foreigner hold 100% share? Any requirement on local directors?
Okay, thank you, Yumna, and thank you, Pesiang, for the questions. This is very valid questions. So, can foreigner hold 100% share? Yes, they can. Actually, there are several requirements for establishing the PT-PMA in Indonesia. So, for the first one related with the shareholders. So, at least we have minimum 2 shareholders are required. So, they become the president director and also the president commissioner. It can be foreigner, it can be combinations between foreigner and also local people. And then at least one individual need to be a foreigner or foreign legal entity. So if you have company outside Indonesia, you can be the shareholders. That's the minimum requirement for the shareholders. If you want to have 100% foreigner, you can do it. If you want to establish the PMA, and then the directors need to reside in Indonesia to take care, of course, the business, right? So the daily activities will be taken care by the director. If you want to appoint local people to become the directors, it's also okay. Just like what we did in Corp Indonesia, they appoint me and Pak Daris to manage the business in Corp Indonesia. And then the foreigner that reside in Indonesia, if you want to put your team or yourself in Indonesia as a commissioner or the directors and you work in Indonesia, you need to have a tax ID and work permit. So based on your questions, yes, you can have foreigner can hold 100% share, but minimum to shareholders. And then any requirement on local director, no. If you can come to Indonesia and maintain your business in Indonesia, feel free to do so. You can do it. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Pak Fitpan. We actually have another question for you from Luca Jackson. So they ask, hi Pak Fitpan, the tech industry in Indonesia is very challenging, especially when it comes to sustainability. Does the Indonesian government have any program to support tech startups to grow sustainably in Indonesia?
I think the question should be for Pak Ricky and also Marisa. Okay, but I
Yeah,
try to
maybe.
answer try to answer this one. So Indonesia government continues to strengthen its strategies to meet the needs of industry 4.0. We can see a lot of government regulations, government policy that encourage tech company, tech startup, and also founders for technology startup to create their business and then to maintain their business in Indonesia. One of the strategies efforts is focusing and encouraging the development of the startup company in Indonesia. Collaborations between government, between company, and then between what we call it university. One, of course, ITB, if you know, one of the ecosystem related with the educations that they help startup founders and startup company by creating a talent, because like we saw in my presentations, talents is become one pain points related with the startup company. So of course, Indonesia create a lot of empowerment to startup company, to startup founders to build their business in Indonesia. We can also government also assign BRI. They create like venture capitalists. There are venture capitalists to invest in the several startup companies, technology startup companies in Indonesia to create the ecosystem. We also understand that Telkom, as one of the biggest BUMN, state-owned enterprise in Indonesia, also has arms to develop the ecosystem related with this startup technology company in Indonesia. So I think startup companies will have very bright future in the 5, 10, or 15 years, and it also COVID-19 pandemic also help us to adapt and adopt the technology startup companies in Indonesia. We also have several government body, for example, OJK, that help the startup technology company from financial service industry. So I think it will sustain Indonesia. The market is there. The government supporting role is quite good, is quite positive. We can see that, like for example, Gojek, several years ago, they've been banned by Ministry of what we call it, perhubungan. But Jokowi said we need to maintain and then we need to ensure that Gojek sustain because they are creating opportunities for our people to work as a Gojek driver. So I think that's Yumna. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Pak Fitpan. Does maybe Ibu Marisa or Pariki, if you guys want to add on to that question, maybe?
Yeah,
No?
I'll add on that. I'll add
yeah,
on
sure.
that.
Go ahead.
I think the sustainability part, there's two parts. Sustainability in terms of sustainability as an environment, sustainability in terms of a business side, right? Sustainability as an environment, I believe Indonesia has one of the biggest mangrove forests in the world, which absorbs a lot of carbon. And a lot of company previously, including Microsoft, previously bought carbon credits in Indonesia, but now we will. I think the government. I cannot speak on behalf of government, but I think they are planning to do something on carbon tax credit for the Indonesian companies or for other companies that purchasing carbon credits in Indonesia. That's on the environment side. On the business sustainability side, meaning that continuously to be able to do business well and do business healthy in Indonesia. I think there are several factors. Just to add, if you are building a technology, you're leveraging Microsoft technology, for example, we are more than happy to partner with you to bring this technology into the future work talent. Meaning that we are trying to partner with universities, we are trying to partner with government to make sure that this next generation of talents are ready and able to compete in the global tech talent, because that's what we are facing today, as mentioned by Pak Ridwan, right? Even several Indonesian unicorn have a development site outside of Indonesia. But the several other good example is if you go to Bali right now, there are several software house company that they're based in Bali, but they are accepting most of their project for Australian customer, but they are based in Bali. So we are starting to see those ecosystem growing up, and thanks to COVID, it's no longer centralized in Jakarta. It's now spreading across the country. And yeah, if you are keen to partner with us, we are more than happy to partner with you and go to this universities and government together jointly.
All right. Thank you so much, Fariki. Ibu Marisa, do you want to add anything to that, or do you think we can move on?
Yeah, I think we can move on.
All right. So Ibu Marisa, actually the next question is for you. From Memento Morio, they ask, how much does Thai and Indonesian cultures differ? Is time management satisfied with the pace of business in Indonesia? And how does reality correspond to business plans?
Okay, so I think it's quite related to the previous question as well. But to add a little bit more, actually the time management in my case, they see that there's more challenges, of course, than what they're expected in the beginning, because they see Indonesian looks, they look really nice, they look really easy, but the market is not easy. I believe for Indonesian market, it's like in Indonesia we call it like gampang-gampang susah, like easy but not easy. Yeah, you need to have like a lot of flight hours. Basically, you have to have like more experience with the locals, with the governments as well. We find that the government culture is also different with the private sector culture. So we have a lot of local cultures in here that we need to actually study. Even including myself, who are actually spending most of my time in Indonesia, I still find Indonesian market is still quite challenging. But thankfully, our business is growing. It's not like in a very fast phase, but our revenue is basically growing since last year. More than double digit, and our investor is like quite happy and still finding how do you call it, confidence in Indonesian market. They still feel that Indonesia is like their future market, based on the population growth and the GDP growth, and everybody is right now looking at Indonesia. And also time management sees that from Indonesia, we can expand to other markets, because there are a lot of, outsourcing opportunities. Just like what Pak Riki said before, some of the, Australian companies are actually, hiring from Indonesia. And also, we also have a plan to do that as well. So we plan to like outsource the skills and talent from Indonesia and, selling worldwide. Yeah. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much, Ibu Marisa. let's see if we have any more questions. I must have been the last one. So I just wanted to thank Ibu Marissa, Fariki, Pak Firfan, and Pak Daris as well for adding on to certain questions for your answers. And also thank you so much to all the participants who were very interested and excited in learning more about the Indonesian tech industry and business in Indonesia in general. So now that we are done with the Q&A session, we have actually already selected some lucky winners to win our door prizes. So the lucky winners are, let's see, Momentum Morio, Pei Xiang-ying, and Tianqi. So congratulations, everyone. Our team will contact you after the session ends so we can organize delivery of our prizes. So with this winner announcement, that marks the end of our agenda today. And to commemorate today's webinar, I would like all participants to turn on their webcams so our team can snap a screenshot of all of you guys that have joined. So please, everybody, open up your webcams. All right, I'll give it another minute just for people to have them open. I hope you guys all enjoyed today's session. It was really great to have Pat Ricky and Bu Marissa to have you guys present. It was very insightful and really great to know more about the story behind what you guys do and also the products that you guys have to help different businesses. So I think we have actually, I think we'll take our photo now. So make sure it's still on. On the count of 3. 1, 2, 3. All right. I think we got a pretty good photo. So I just wanted to thank you all again for joining this session and stay tuned for our upcoming webinar that will be later in 2023 with a brand new topic. And with this, I'd like to mark the end of today's session. So thank you so much, everyone. Thank you for participating and have a nice day.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Take care.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.